Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Ryan, I'm a CPA, and today I'm going to be talking about whether or not you can buy an exotic or deduct an exotic car in your business. The answer is probably pretty obvious, but the short answer is it depends. And I know you hate that answer, but it really does depend on what kind of business you have, the legitimate use of the car, and all of that stuff. All right, so first let's start off with when can you for sure write off or deduct an exotic car in your business. So let's say you own a business that rents out cars or rents out specifically exotic cars. That is a type of business where you can for sure legally purchase the car under your business, depreciate the vehicle and not have the IRS bat an eye about it. But before I go any further, I wanted to talk about what deducting the car means, because it seems like such a simple word, but it's such a loaded word because it can mean so many different things in the tax world. So when people ask, can you deduct this car, most of them mean that they have a business. Okay, that's usually what happens. They have a business. They want to see if the business can purchase the car under the business's name, and if they can, write off the entire purchase price of the car for the purchase. Now, the thing with exotics is they're very expensive, okay? And any car in general is considered a capital asset, which means you generally can't deduct the entire purchase price all right away. You have to depreciate the asset over a certain amount of time, usually 5 years. It's really not going to happen, it's not going to go in your favor when you try to buy a $500,000 car under your business and try to write off the entire $500,000 in the year of purchase. It just doesn't work that way. Okay, so let's say, for example, this here Ferrari 488 Pista, which apparently goes for $540,000. You can't just go and buy the car, finance it, and then go and deduct $540,000 off of your business income. It just doesn't work that way. It's going to have to be depreciated over at least a 5-year period, which is still a large deduction. It's over $100,000 per year, but still it's going to be spread out over 5 years. By the way, if anybody wants to sponsor me and purchase me a $540,000 car like the 488 Pista, I'd be happy to mention you in my videos, and I will even tell you how you can deduct the full amount of the car. However, it would involve me as a business claiming the entire value of the car as income, but that's okay. I take the tax hit on $540,000 to own a Pista, no problem there. So I'm going to dig deeper into whether or not the business can buy a car like this. All right. So can the business buy a vehicle like this? So the first question you want to ask yourself is the vehicle going to be used 100% for business? If it's going to be used any less than that, any less than 100%, I would really, really reconsider purchasing the vehicle personally rather than under the business. Okay? And then the next question you want to ask is a vehicle like this an ordinary and necessary expense? So again, this all depends on what kind of business you have. Also, the IRS has to be able to, if the IRS were to audit you, you have to convince the IRS agents that this vehicle is ordinary and necessary for your business. So let's go through some examples here. And these are real life examples I've seen of businesses in the Denver area buying McLarens, Lamborghinis and stuff for their business, which I just cringe at. All right. So the first example is a marketing agency. Now, they're, maybe like a 15, 20 employee marketing agency, but the owner did buy an exotic car, got it wrapped up in the company logo and some other things. And keep in mind, they're a marketing agency. Is this a legitimate, ordinary, and necessary expense? And the answer is hell no, it is not. Okay? Marketing company doesn't need to buy a $300,000 car to advertise itself. It's just not necessary. You can do that with a Prius. The next example is, let's say you have a business that does clear bra and window tint for cars. Okay, now you're getting more into the actual industry, that the actual car industry. So is this an ordinary and necessary expense? And I would still say no. Now, this becomes more of a gray area because you are in the car industry, but it's still your job to convince any IRS agents that you need this McLaren for your window tint business. So In this one, I'm going to say no as well. But, let me know what you think in the comments below. What about auto detailing or auto repair? Can that be considered, ordinary necessary, to own a McLaren? Same thing with the window tint and the clear ball. I'm going to say no on this one. All right, so what about a race shop? A shop that does tuning, internal engine component replacements, turbos, exhaust building, all for exotic cars. Would this be something that could be legitimate? And I would say yes. You probably can get away with buying an exotic car if you own a race shop that specifically services exotic cars. You might need a car to do testing on and to build several components and do testing or rebuilds and all that kind of stuff before you start selling products to other Lamborghini, Ferrari owners. I'll say this is actually a legitimate business to have an exotic car. And obviously the last one I'm going to go over is the exotic car rental business, which in my opinion is another legitimate business to own an exotic car. What about if you don't use the car 100% for business? What do you have to do there? But before I go on, how about you smash the like button? All right. So if the car doesn't get used 100% for business, then I would really encourage you to purchase the car personally, because if a company owns a business vehicle and you used it personally for any reason, you technically have to report that usage as personal income. So then it gets really hairy and tricky, tracking mileage logs and reporting what's business use and personal use, and also claiming the personal use as income to yourself. That just sounds like a nightmare to me that I don't want to be dealing with. So if you buy it personally, obviously you would split out your personal usage and your business usage, and you can take the ratio of your business usage and multiply it by the depreciation for the year, the gas, and all that stuff. But the burden of proof still comes upon you to prove to the IRS agents that this vehicle is ordinary and necessary, even if you own it personally. But you own it personally and you're taking business deductions on it. You're still taking this extravagant business deduction on this car. You gotta be able to prove to the IRS that this vehicle is ordinary and necessary for your business. So I would challenge you to do that if you have a marketing company. Unless you have a marketing company that specifically does marketing for cars, then there you go. But if you're just an ad agency, then I don't know what to tell you there, man. I wouldn't do that. So that brings us back to the most basic way to deduct any auto expenses, and that's mileage, the standard mileage rates. The standard mileage rates changes every year. For 2021, it's currently 56 cents per mile. So it's pretty simple. Every mile you drive for business, you multiply it by 56 cents, and that's your business auto deduction. It's pretty standard, right? But if you went and purchased a $500,000 car, writing off like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of mileage each year isn't super beneficial, and it's not going to dramatically offset the cost of the vehicle. So that's why this is not super popular and why nobody really talks about this. But this is truly the only legitimate way that you can write off the expenses of the car. But you can do the same thing. You get the same mileage rate with a Prius as you would with a Ferrari. So this option is not super popular with people trying to look at scamming the IRS for an exotic vehicle. To sum it up, what should you do if you want to buy a Lambo, you want to buy a Ferrari? What should you do? If you don't own an exotic car rental company, if you don't own a race shop or anything that really, really needs the car, then you should just buy it personally. Make sure that you can afford it without trying to scam the IRS into giving you some of the money back. I mean, people who are buying these cars probably are not too worried about the tax deduction because they're rich as shit. So don't worry about trying to scam the IRS. If you want to buy one of these cars, save up for it, get higher income, try not to finance it, and then buy yourself a freaking Lambo. But don't try to weasel it into your business or weasel it into your, side hustle or whatever to try to get some tax dollars back, because that's not going to work well for you in the end. All right. So that's all I got for today. Thanks for joining me. Again, my name is Ryan. If you found this video helpful, please do smash the like button. And if you're new here, please do consider subscribing to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. And yeah, take care for now, and I'll see you next time. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup.
I hit the stage and leave with money that say stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'ma flick up. Bill, I'm in the mood for a change up. I leave the city and return with my change up.